Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to continue the review of the timelines for Noah Presgrove case. So far we focused on the family and partygoers. We have used Facebook screenshots and conversations. Pretty much anything we could get with date and time or reference or statements. We reviewed a lot of this. I'm not going to go over it again here, but there was a lot of information, and I'm going to basically ask for starters to summarize this, where we're at. Then I'm going to bring Kaden's timeline in. I'm going to give it Kaden's screenshot and statement, and I'm also giving it the transcripts from YouTube videos, Partners in Crime, and the police interview. And we'll review if there's any inconsistencies between his statements. And then the last part is I'm going to ask it what, if we overlay this with the other timeline, the non-Kaden Pressy timeline, if any of the overall consistencies are resolved and if any new ones are added. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And so we're going to start with a summary of where we are before we bring Kaden Pressy's timeline in. Control V. Please summarize the timeline to present, excluding any information from Kaden Pressy and his timeline. Also highlight the inconsistencies. Also highlight the inconsistencies and who is associated with the inconsistency. Summarize timeline events excluding Kaden's. Timeline is based on Jack Newton's statements, corroborating witness accounts excluding Kaden's, and autopsy findings. The inconsistencies are highlighted along with individuals associated with them. Saturday night to early Sunday morning, approximately 9 p.m. to midnight, a party was going on at Carter's property with multiple attendees including Jack, Noah, Avery, Carter, Logan, Mikey, and others. An argument reportedly occurred between Noah and Avery, during which Noah called Avery derogatory names. Jack also reported a brief argument with Noah, which they resolved. Inconsistency. Jack denies knowledge of an argument on Saturday, but later confirms an altercation between Noah and Avery, as well as his own conflict with Noah. Early Sunday morning, approximately midnight to 2:30 a.m. Jack claims he went to bed at various times, 11 p.m., midnight, 1:30, and finally 2 a.m. He says he was with Carter when he went to sleep. An ATV accident occurred, involving Noah and other partygoers, leaving Noah dirty and needing a shower. Jack claims he was asleep during the incident, but later says Carter informed him of it. Inconsistency. Jack reported bedtime change in different accounts, ranging from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. He also inconsistently describes whether Carter was awake to tell him about the ATV wreck. Post-ATV accident, approximately 2:30 to 3:30 a.m. Monday morning. Noah reportedly took a shower after the ATV incident and wore Jack's wrestling shorts. Witnesses claim Noah was upset after being denied access to Avery's bed and may have asked others for a place to sleep. Jack says Noah was angry and walked off to cool down. Logan reportedly saw Noah leaving towards the gravel road. Inconsistency. Witnesses. Some witnesses claim Avery, not Logan, was the last person to see Noah leave the property. Jack alternates between Logan and Avery as the last person to see Noah. Sunday morning, approximately 5:30 to 6 a.m. Discovery of Noah's body, approximately 5:50 a.m. I think it was 5:53 when 911 call went, I think, and it was, yeah, somewhere just before they were probably found. Jack claims he woke up around 5:30 a.m. and began looking for Noah after asking Mikey where he was. Jack found Noah's body on the roadside around 5:50 and described him as naked except for one mismatched shoe. I don't know where. I believe that was yeah, 5:53. He texted his dad was what he had said. I'm not quite sure where this is coming from. And about 6:05 or shortly before, he was on site where Noah was. But anyways, just FYI, not 100%. It probably has reference to that somewhere though in one of these postings. Jack then returned to the house briefly to inform Carter and others before returning to the scene to wait for law enforcement. Inconsistency. Jack describes returning to the house after finding Noah, but claims he told Carter quietly. This contrasts with earlier accounts where he was stated to woke everybody up. The timeline of this discovery is also inconsistent with the timing of the 911 call at 5:48. Law enforcement arrival, approximately 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Jack says Sheriff Jeremy Wilson and Deputy Jimmy Williams arrived on scene shortly after he discovered Noah. Jack's father and grandfather arrived around 6:30 a.m. Jack moved Noah's wrestling shorts from the road to his truck and was told by an officer to return to the scene. Inconsistency witnesses, including Kaden, obviously there is a reference to him in some of the podcasts. Report seeing Noah in black shorts when he was first discovered. Jack's account of the wrestling shorts conflicts with this. Post-discovery events later that day, law enforcement reportedly examined Jack's ATV for evidence of a wreck, but released it shortly afterwards. Jack traded the ATV for a boat months later, though the exact timing is unclear. Jack took a polygraph test at a later date, which he claimed to have passed perfectly. This has not been corroborated by law enforcement. Inconsistency. Jack's ATV accident story is vague and lacks corroborating evidence. Witness and law enforcement noted no significant damage to the ATV, contradicting his claim of a wreck. And a nice little table. So, inconsistency, multiple bedtimes, basically a little table with same information broken down from up above. Key observations. Jack Newton has the most inconsistencies, particularly regarding his timeline, actions after finding Noah, and the ATV wreck. The state of Noah's clothing at the time of discovery remains unclear, with discrepancies about the black shorts versus wrestling shorts. Witness accounts regarding the last person to see Noah are inconsistent, alternating between Avery and Logan. So that is a summary of where we are. There is more details. I didn't see anything about Caleb's times and stuff, but we can move along here and let me grab this here statement. So here's what I'm going to ask it. There's an alternative timeline as stated by Kaden Pressy. I'm going to give you 4 files. 3 of them are YouTube video transcripts where Kaden told his story, and that would 2 of them are the Partner in Crime podcast, and one of them is his police interview, and the other is a screenshot from Facebook, Kaden's statement. Yeah, think everybody's familiar with it. This was the statement that Kaden put out on Justice for Noah Presgrove group. So that will be put in as well. Also search web, social media, any additional information about Kaden Pressy timeline. Please review these items and give a summary of Kaden's timeline. Also, please point out any inconsistencies that may be present between each podcast, web, and Facebook statement. Alright, go ahead and upload the files or review them. Grab them. I think I can just drag them over and drop them. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's the interview. Alright, upload those. Reading documents, summary. They're pretty long transcripts there. Alright, we can start reading now. Okay, summary of Kaden Pressy's timeline from provided materials. Facebook post. So this is Facebook he put out. Kaden claims he woke up at 5:15 a.m. due to Jack bursting into the house alerting everyone about Noah. Searching briefly for Noah before driving to the scene where Noah's body was located. Observes Noah's body tampered with and insists Noah was wearing black shorts when found. States he returned to the house where everyone went back to sleep while he stayed up pondering the situation. And again, that was just off that little statement he put on Facebook. So let's go down here. So podcast interview 1, this was the partners in crime. Kaden discussed arriving at the party Saturday evening and drinking with the group. Sunday morning, a smaller group went out to breakfast. Sunday night, he stopped drinking to watch over his cousin who arrived around 10:30 p.m. He took videos that night showing Noah walking around in black shorts. He fell asleep around 2 a.m. Woke up briefly at 2:43 due to a phone call from his mom. Noticed others playing beer pong in the dining room when he woke up. Stage Jack burst in around 15 claiming Noah was dead. Podcast number 2 was the second part of the Partners in Crime. It wasn't a full episode dedicated to him, but this is where they finished his statements. Interview. Claims he offered his phone to law enforcement twice but was refused. Expresses discomfort after seeing Jack Newton News Nation interviews. Suspecting scripted answers. Mentioned that the timeline on his phone to 2:43 and 5:15 activities should corroborate his story. Discusses discrepancy about Noah appearance and clothing, and other accounts stated Noah was naked. Key points across the timeline. Saturday night, Kaden joined the party, drank. Okay, so that's just reviewing again. Jack and Noah were present throughout. Party ended late. Kaden went to sleep. Sunday morning, group had breakfast at a gas station and returned to the house. Jack left with Noah and others for an errand, leaving Kaden with some girls at the house. Sunday night party resumed with new arrivals. Kaden became sober to protect his cousin, who took videos documenting the night. Kaden fell asleep around 2, woke up briefly at 2:43 due to a call from his mom, and then went back to sleep. Monday morning, 5:15, Jack burst in claiming Noah was dead. Kaden and others went to the scene to find Noah's body. Kaden assessed Noah was wearing black shorts and claimed the body was tampered with. Inconsistencies across statements. Noah's clothing. Kaden consistently states Noah was wearing black shorts when found, but other accounts, 911 call reports, mention Noah was naked. Side-by-side accident. Rumors allege Kaden was involved and flipped in a side-by-side vehicle that night. Noah died, which Kaden denies citing his physical inability due to knee injury. Police interaction. Kaden claims he offered his phone to law enforcement twice, but they did not take it. This raises questions about investigative thoroughness. Timeline gaps. There is a discrepancy between Kaden's reported timeline, the 5:15 discovery, and the 911 calls were made closer to 6 a.m. Behavior after Noah's discovery. Kaden claims people went back to sleep after entering the house, an unusual reaction given the gravity of the situation. Potential corroboration. Kaden's phone records, call logs, location data could verify his claim of the 2:43 phone call, his location and movements after Jack's 5:15 announcement. Videos from the night showing Noah alive in black shorts supports Kaden's narrative. I just want to check one thing. What about Kaden's interview? Does it match what the other transcripts have to say? Just want to... Okay. So elements of Kaden's interview versus other statements. Jack interviewed. Kaden states Jack woke him up at 5:15 saying Noah's dead. He immediately woke others up to search for Noah driving to the scene. Facebook statement matches the interview. Kaden explicitly states Jack woke him up at 5:15 and alerted everyone about Noah's death. This would be the partners in crime. Timeline is consistent. Kaden specifies Jack 5:15 announcement in both podcast interviews. Inconsistency with others. Jack claims he didn't burst into the house or wake anyone up with a loud announcement, instead saying he quietly told Carter and others. The discrepancy raises a conflict between Kaden and Jack's version of the story. Noah's clothing at the scene. Interview. In the interview, Kaden asserts Noah was wearing black shorts when found at the scene. He adadamantly claims this and is willing to testify about it. Facebook statement consistent with the interview. Kaden states Noah was wearing black shorts and alleges that the body was tampered with afterwards. Partners in crime reiterates Noah was wearing black shorts, aligned with his Facebook and interview accounts. Inconsistency with others. Jack and others claim Noah was naked when found, with shorts folded nearby. The medical examiner's report did not mention Noah wearing clothing at the time of examination. Law enforcement reportedly recovered white wrestling shorts, not black ones. Kaden's activities after being woken in the interview. He woke 3 other boys, searched briefly for Noah, drove his red Jeep Cherokee to the scene. Mentions being at the scene 2 to 5 minutes before being told to leave. Facebook statement matches the interview. Kaden emphasized he took action immediately after being woken, searching for no one, driving to the scene. Partners in crime, consistent. Kaden describes waking others up and heading to the scene quickly after Jack's announcement. Inconsistencies with others. Jack states that Kaden and others only came to the scene later in Kaden's gray Jeep Cherokee Jeep, contradicting Kaden's account of driving the red Cherokee. I'm not sure where that came from, must be in there somewhere. Behavior after return to the house. In the interview, Kaden says he was shocked to see people going back to sleep. After learning about Noah's death, he stayed awake, questioning how and why this had happened. Facebook's statement, he reiterates his disbelief at everyone returning to sleep, aligning with his interview. Podcast, partner in crime. Consistent. Kaden highlights that while others returned to bed, he remained awake. Inconsistencies with others. Jack does not confirm anyone going back to sleep. Instead, he says the group stayed awake, discussing the incident, looking for answers. Relationship with law enforcement. In the interview, Kaden claims he offered his phone to law enforcement twice, refused to take it, and review his records. Facebook, no mention of this interaction with law enforcement. And partners in crime. Matches the interview. Kaden emphasizes his attempt to cooperate by providing his phone, Life's 360 data, and location records. Inconsistency with others. Jack and the other party goers claim they handed over their phones and cooperated fully with law enforcement. Side-by-side incident. In the interview, Kaden denies any involvement with the side-by-side wreck, citing his recent ACL surgery that left him unable to bear weight. Facebook statement, no mention of the side-by-side incident. In partners in crime. Consistent denial of involvement. Kaden insists he wasn't physically capable of driving the ATV due to his injury. Inconsistency with others. Some partygoers allege Kaden was involved in flipping the ATV. Jack claims the side-by-side showed signs of damage and was examined by law enforcement. Discrepancies in timeline. In the interview, Kaden provides a detailed timeline, including when he is woken 5:15 a.m., when he arrived at the scene, and events before and after. Facebook statement, the timeline matches the interview. Woke up at 5:15, went to scene, saw no one, wear black shorts. Partners in crime, consistent timeline. He refers to the exact time, 2:43 a.m. and 5:15 a.m. announcement, with supporting data from his phone records and Life's 360 app. Inconsistencies with others. Jack claims he discovered Noah at 5:50. I still think, I'm not sure where I grabbed that from, but there's a lot of timelines mentioned. 8 calls afterwards. The first 911 call logged at 5:48 conflicts with Kaden's statement about seeing Noah shortly after 5:15 a.m. Other accounts place Kaden's movement later than he claims. General observations. Consistency in Kaden's statement. Across his interview, Facebook post, and podcast, Kaden's timeline and observations remain consistent. He repeatedly emphasized Jack 5:15 a.m. announcement, Noah's black shorts, and his quick trip to the scene. Conflicts with other accounts. The most significant conflicts arise between Kaden and Jack's accounts. His special report regarding the timing of events, discover a body announcement to others. Noah's clothing, black shorts versus no clothing. Kaden's alleged involvement in the side-by-side wreck. Potential credibility factors. Kaden's story aligns with digital records he claimed to have by 360 phone logs. He detailed account contrasts with Jack's evolving timeline, which has been noted as inconsistency by multiple parties. Alright, so let's, before I start overlaying the two timelines to see what is resolved or what new things happen, I'm going to just see if it can bring anything in from external sources that might add anything here before we move to the next part. Alright, okay, come back here. Okay, upon reviewing external sources, including news articles, interviews, several inconsistencies, and additional details emerged regarding the events around Noah Presgrove's death and the accounts provided by Kaden Pressy and others. Okay. Discovery. Kaden claims Jack Newton woke up at 5:15. Noah's dead. I'm just going to go through this quick. Anyways, however, the first 911 call was reported at 5:48. The discrepancy raises questions about the exact time of events and the delay between the alleged discovery and the emergency call. Noah's clothing. Kaden consistently states Noah was wearing black shorts when found. Other accounts, Jack Newton and other witnesses claim Noah was naked with shorts folded nearby. Medical examiner report does not mention Noah wearing clothing at the time of examination. Law enforcement reportedly recovered white printed shorts at the scene, not black ones. People magazine. Side by side, Kaden denies involvement in the ATV accident, citing the recent ACL injury, can't bear weight on his leg. Contradictory, some partygoers allege Kaden was involved with flipping the ATV. Jack Newton mentions side-by-side shows signs of damage and was examined by law enforcement. Behavior after discovery of Noah. Kaden expressed shock, returning to the house, people went to sleep. Okay, Jack's account does not confirm anyone went back to sleep and said to stay awake and discuss incident looking for answers. Okay, Kaden offers phone twice. Jack and partygoers claim they all offered phones, cooperated. Medical examiner's report indicated Noah died from multiple blunt force injuries, including skull fracture and broken ribs. Manner of death is listed as undetermined, leaving open questions about how these injuries were sustained. Witness account. There are conflicting accounts from various witnesses about the evening leading up to Noah's death, including the behavior at the party and interactions with others. These inconsistencies highlight the complexities in the investigation and underscore the need for a thorough examination of all testimonies and evidence to ascertain the truth behind Noah's tragic death. So we'll ask one last question. And now that we're looking at both timelines, one piece together from partygoers and family, the other from Kaden, please outline any inconsistencies that Kaden's timeline would resolve if applied to the partygoers' timeline. Also outline any new inconsistencies that are present by introducing Kaden's timeline to the partygoers' one. Here's an analysis of how Kaden Pressy's timeline resolves some inconsistencies, as well as new inconsistencies it's introduced. Oh, come back here. Yeah. Alright, so inconsistencies that are resolved by Kaden's timeline. Exact time of Jack's announcement. Partygoers' timeline. There are conflicting accounts of when Jack allegedly informed others that Noah was dead. Some suggest it was around 5:30 a.m. or later. Kaden timeline, he claims Jack woke him up at 5:15, providing a specific time. This earlier time helps align the sequence of events leading up to the 5:48 and 911 call, and suggests the partygoers' recollections may be delayed or less precise. Noah's clothing, partygoers' timeline. Jack and others claim Noah was naked when found, with shorts folded nearby. Kaden explicitly states Noah was wearing black shorts when discovered. This could explain why some witnesses at the scene, Kaden and other unnamed witnesses, reported Noah was clothed, while others found him unclothed later, possibly due to tampering or movement of evidence. Presence of partygoers at the scene. Jack recalls various individuals arriving at the scene after him, but there's vagueness in when and how. Kaden provides more structure, stating that he immediately went to the scene after hearing about the news, potentially clarifying who arrived and when. Reactions to Noah's death. Partygoers' timeline. Several accounts suggest the group returned to sleep after discovering Noah's body, which is often criticized as bizarre behavior. Kaden expresses his disbelief at this behavior, providing a plausible emotional reaction to such shocking news, and explaining why he might have stayed awake to process the incident. Timing of the 911 call. There's confusion about when the call was placed versus when people learned of Noah's death in the partygoers' timeline. Kaden, his report of Jack waking him at 5:15 a.m. and his immediate departure to the scene fits more cohesively into the timeline leading up to the 5:48 911 call. New inconsistencies introduced by Kaden's timeline. Black shorts versus white shorts. Kaden claims Noah was wearing black shorts when found, which directly contradicts Jack's statement that Noah was naked and that law enforcement finding white shorts nearby. This introduces questions about whether the shorts were changed, who might have moved or tampered with Noah's body. Timing of Noah's walk-off. Kaden's timeline suggests Noah was already dead by 5:15 a.m., but the partygoer's timeline suggests he left the house closer to 3:30 a.m. after an argument and was seen walking towards the road. This introduces questions about whether Noah's departure was accurately recalled by the partygoers. The gap between 3:30 a.m. and 5:15 a.m. which remains unexplained. Jack's role in alerting others. Kaden claims Jack burst into the house at 5:15, declared Noah dead. Jack, however, provides multiple versions. One version states he informed Carter quietly. Another says he told the group at large. Kaden's version contrasts with Jack's, leaving open questions about how the news was shared and the timing. Behavior in returning to the house. Kaden criticizes others for going back to sleep after Noah's death, but Jack and others deny this. They claim everybody stayed awake, engaged in discussion or searches. Not sure what they'd be searching for at that point. This creates a divide in recounting the group's behavior after the discovery. Involvement of Kaden's mother. Kaden's timeline places him driving to the scene alone after being alerted. However, the partygoers account in external sources suggests his mother or her involvement in the night's events might play a role, which Kaden does not address. Timing on searches for Noah. Kaden claims he began looking for Noah immediately after being woken up, but other accounts suggest searches for Noah were disorganized or occurred sporadically throughout the early morning. This discrepancy raises questions about whether Kaden's account reflects the broader group activity. Presence of golf clubs. Kaden's claim that golf clubs were at the scene conflicts with Jack's denial that Noah's golf clubs were at the party. Jack's explanation that the clubs were returned to Noah's home is contradicted by the family, who state the golf clubs were never found in Noah's truck or elsewhere. 911 call responsibility. Neither Kaden's timeline nor the partygoers clearly identify who made the first 911 call at 5:48. This omission raises questions about whether Kaden or others delayed alerting law enforcement. Keep in mind, we only have the statements that were posted online or in YouTube podcasts and such. So this AI does not have anything referencing Tyler Hardy, that was the one that made the 911 call, and there was another Tyler apparently before that guy. But again, this AI has no information regarding any of that. So take this with a grain of salt, because it doesn't have the full scope. Summary of impact. Kaden's timeline fills critical gaps, especially in the timing of Jack's announcement, the description of Noah's clothing, and the emotional reaction to his death. However, it introduces new conflicts, particularly regarding Noah's attire, the sequence of events leading to the discovery, and the exact role of individuals at the scene. Significant differences remain unresolved, such as the nature of the searches, 911 call, and the behavior of the group after Noah's death. These inconsistencies highlight the importance of reconciling both timelines with forensic evidence, digital records, and further witness testimony to establish a clearer picture. I'm going to ask one more. Based on all information available, These list in order. How do I want to say this speech? Close enough. Was inconsistencies and state the number of inconsistencies they have and what they are. Detailed breakdown of each individual with inconsistencies in their statements based on all information available. Number of inconsistencies. Jack Newton is 10. Time he went to bed. Claims range 11 p.m., 12 a.m., 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m. Photo evidence places him awake at 1:50 a.m. What he did with the discovery, what he did when he discovered Noah's body. Claimed he informed the group immediately upon return to the house. Later claimed he only informed Carter quietly, and the group found out later. Noah's clothing at the scene. Stated Noah was naked when found, but Kaden and others claimed Noah was wearing black shorts. White shorts were later found folded near the body. Who was at the scene when he arrives? Stated the truck driver's boss, and a person in a white car were there. Witness accounts differ regarding the white car and other individuals. ATV wreck. Jack claims an ATV wreck occurred, but others at the party, including Kaden, deny it happened. I don't think Kaden denied it happened. I believe I saw he was shown a picture or video of it. Anyway, just something to throw out there. Source of information. Jack claims Carter told him about the events during the ATV wreck, but Carter was supposedly asleep with him at the time. Timeline for discovering Noah's body. Jack claims he left to meet his father around 5:50 a.m. but at 5:48 a.m. 911 call complicates the timing. Golf clubs. Jack stated Noah's golf clubs were taken home, but Noah's family never found them. Who woke him up? Claimed Jasmine woke him up at 5 a.m. Yet Kaden recalls being woken up by Jack at 5:15 a.m. Reaction to Noah's death. Initially claimed everyone stayed awake discussing the situation, contradicted by Kaden, who said many went back to sleep after hearing the news. Avery, 5 inconsistencies. Time Noah left the house. Different witness claim she was the last to see Noah leave around 3:30 a.m. but others suggest it was Logan who saw him leave. Argument with Noah. Some witnesses report a heated argument with Noah on Saturday night. Avery denies being mad at him and downplays the incident. Reaction to Noah's death. Avery was described as asleep on the couch by Jack when he told her about Noah. Other accounts place her in her room. Behavior after Noah's death. Conflicting reports about whether she helped clean up the house and participated in discussions or remained passive. What she told others. Contradictory statements about whether she saw Noah leave the house versus hearing it from somebody else. Carter, 4 inconsistencies. Asleep or awake during ATV wreck. Jack claims Carter gave him details about the ATV wreck, but she was supposedly asleep with him at the time. Reaction to Noah's death. Contradictory accounts about whether Carter immediately went back to sleep or stayed up discussing the situation. Behavior on porch. Witnesses, including Renee, mentioned Carter cleaning up beer cans after Noah's death. This action is inconsistent with her claim of being distraught. Timeline of events after Noah's death. Carter's role in informing others is vague, and her movements during the key time frame remain unclear. Kaden Pressy, 3 inconsistencies. Time he drove to the scene. Kaden claims he arrived almost immediately after Jack's announcement at 5:15 a.m., but Jack accounts suggest he went alone first. Who discovered Noah first? Kaden claims he and others arrived shortly after Jack, but Jack suggests Kaden arrived later. Involvement of his mother. There's ambiguity about whether Kaden's mother played a role in helping him or whether he acted alone as claimed. Jasmine, 3 inconsistencies. Jasmine claims she woke Jack up at 5 a.m., but Jack does not remember this and places his own wake-up time later, which I believe was 5:30. Jasmine states Avery saw Noah leave, but Jack later suggests it was Logan. Jasmine's exact involvement in the early morning search for Noah is unclear, as her statements conflict with Kaden's recollection. Logan has 2 inconsistencies. Logan reportedly saw Noah walking down the road towards the highway, but Avery is also mentioned as the last person to see him. Conflicting statements about whether Logan saw Noah at 3:30 a.m. or later, creating ambiguity. Renee Milan, 2 inconsistencies. Renee's arrival is stated to be after 6 a.m., but her timeline overlaps with events that occurred earlier, including cleanup activities. Role in cleanup. Renee's account suggests Carter and Avery cleaning up beer cans, which conflicts with claims that everybody was mourning or searching. Mikey and Bren. Number of inconsistencies is 1. Witnesses, their statement about whether they saw Noah leave or only heard about it secondhand conflict with others who claim they saw him. Jack Newton has the most inconsistencies, particularly regarding his timeline and Noah's clothing, casting doubt on the accuracy of his recollection or honesty. Kaden Pressy's timeline resolves some inconsistencies, i.e. timing of Jack's announcement, but introduces new contradictions, particularly regarding Noah's clothing and discovery of the body. Avery and Carter's actions post-incident and their accounts of Noah's departure remain unclear, with contradictions about their behavior after his death. Jasmine and Logan's roles in the search and last sightings of Noah need further clarification. Renee's account introduces doubts about the partygoers' claims of mourning versus cleaning activities. This analysis shows significant gaps in consistency that warrants further investigation and corroboration through evidence like phone records, GPS data, and witness statements. Well, okay. Again, you have to take it with a grain of salt. AI does have some flaws. I did see a few things that look a little weird to me. But again, this doesn't necessarily have all the data. But it has quite enough. I think it certainly shows and highlights the number of differences, because I mean those really do get hard to track. You know, you see screenshot here and somebody said this and somebody said that, and you know there's an interview and somebody said, like, it's very hard to keep everything straight. So I'm going to keep this AI. I mean, unless I actually delete it, it will remain in my history, and every time I come back to it, it still has all the information I had prior. So I am going to leave it here. I'm not quite sure where to take this analysis next, or what questions to ask it at this point. If anybody has any thoughts on that, please leave a comment, and I'll probably add those questions, or you know, into another video. But for now, thanks for watching, and I do believe this case is going to be solved. I really do believe that. You know, obviously there's a lot of questions, a lot of inconsistencies, and you know, we're going on what, 15 months? If basic questions aren't clear at this point, it's because people don't want them to be clear. Anyways, again, thanks for watching, and take care.